What is the best way to speak English? You cannot finish studying English in a short time. You have witnessed the hype that says you can finish English in a month. But as you know, you cannot complete English overnight. It takes a lot of time to learn all foreign languages, not just English. The quickest way for your children to speak English well is to send them to the US to study English when they are young. If your child goes to an English-speaking country before the age of 6 and goes to kindergarten and elementary school, he or she will be able to speak English almost like a native speaker. When you go abroad as an adult, there are many aspects that make it difficult for you to acquire native-speaking English. So the sooner, the easier it is to send your children to English-speaking countries so they can learn it. However, not everyone has the circumstances to send their children to study abroad. Some people are moving to the US for their children's English education as they give up their jobs. In order to learn English, you must either send them to a standard English-speaking country to study, or learn the English of a standard English speaker. As for a standard English, each person has a slight difference of opinion. There are some people who say that British English is standard English. There are also people who say that American English is standard English. Which English you will use is up to you. Australia is a typical country affected by British English. The reality is that American English is used a lot as an international trend now. The biggest difference between American English and British English is the difference in pronunciation. The United States is a country where ethnic groups from all over the world come together. Therefore, it is true that people living in the United States have various English pronunciations. Children who were born in the United States or who went to the United States around kindergarten do most of the American English pronunciation. If you are learning English in Korea without going to the United States, you can learn the accurate pronunciation through the American news broadcast because the American news broadcast uses almost standard pronunciations. Of course, there are some American news presenters who speak slightly different pronunciations. The most important thing in learning a foreign language is to acquire a lot of vocabulary. If you can, it is most important to acquire many vocabulary words through listening, but it is never easy. An environment in which you can use and listen to English at the same time is very important. English vocabulary is very vast. Once you memorize a word, you don't always remember it. Therefore, you should be able to use English vocabulary that you have learned over and over again. As the saying goes, Rome was not built overnight. You cannot learn English overnight. Those who are good at English without going to the US should be exposed to much more English than those who are learning it in the US. Therefore, the road to conquering English is not easy. However, if you continue to study and use the English you have learned over and over again, you will be able to speak English well, even if you will not be able to use it at the level of a native speaker.